Well, good morning. I'll try that one more time. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Oh, brilliant. Do you know, it's absolutely wonderful to see you all. My name's Robin Mason. I'm the chair of the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission in the UK. And this is our flagship event, this Connect and Collaborate event. It's the largest event in our annual calendar. It's the one time when we can bring together so many scholars and fellows who are studying in the UK to do as the event suggests, to connect and collaborate. So thank you, first of all, thank you all for coming. It really makes this a special event when we have so many of you here. We think we've got about 360 of you here today. So that's going to give you lots and lots of people to meet, lots and lots of opportunities to network, to connect with each other, and also to engage in some really interesting breakout sessions where hopefully you'll learn and engage in personal development. So we're here to do three things today. The first of all is to recognize and celebrate your achievements. The second thing that we're looking to do is to build the community of scholars and fellows. And in case you didn't hear me say it just then, I'll say it again now, and I'll repeat myself in a little while. You're here to network and meet each other. So we want to really build that community. And thirdly, we want to show you off a bit. So we've got, throughout the course of the day, we're very fortunate to have some really important people coming to meet you scholars. So we're very proud of you, and we really want to show you off to show exactly how great our Commonwealth Scholars are. So recognize, celebrate your achievements, give you the chance to build the community and network with each other, and to show you off. Now, the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission has been running since 1960. So quite a while now. Over that time, we've now got over 31,000 Commonwealth Scholars. It all started all that time ago, 60 plus years ago, with a group of 175 scholars coming to the UK. Now each year we have somewhere between 650 and 750 scholars. And our alumni include prime ministers, cabinet ministers, Nobel Prize winners, academics, diplomats, writers, and leaders in business and in non-governmental organizations. And that's the family that you've joined. So each year, and this is the really exciting bit about our Commonwealth family, each year we just have outstanding scholars and fellows like you joining us, becoming part of that family. And you should know that in joining the CSC family, we select our scholars incredibly carefully. We're overwhelmed by the number of applications that we get. It's to our great regret that we can't fund everybody who applies, so we have to be incredibly selective. So the fact that you're here today, the fact that you're a Commonwealth Scholar or Fellow, is a real indication, a real recognition of your outstanding ability. You've come through an incredibly competitive process to become a scholar. But we select you not only because academically you're outstanding, we select you also very carefully because of your commitment to making a difference in your communities, in your countries and your regions through the impact of your work. And that is a really important part of our scheme, is that we select not just academically excellent people, but also people who are really committed to making a positive developmental impact. So look, let me just give you a few examples of that. So I can tell you about Henry Agbe, who has collaborated with a hospital in Canada to test new technology which combats the spread of harmful surface bacteria. And he'll be taking that technology back to his home country Ghana. In addition, Henry's new role as a senior lecturer at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology will provide a means to strengthen that institution's collaboration with Henry's alma mater in the UK, the University of Cambridge. For Ansois Carian de Villiers, combining her work in ecology with the social science knowledge gained through her Commonwealth Scholarship to study for an MSc in environmental anthropology at the University of Kent, has enabled her to address both the scientific and social aspects of promoting resilience against climate change and increasing biodiversity in the Olifants River basin bordering South Africa and Mozambique. Joam Aziz has been helping to introduce interventions to improve women's economic participation and social status in Punjab since completing her Commonwealth Scholarship to study for an MSc in Impact Evaluation and International Development at the University of East Anglia. Joam is currently investigating the social and economic well-being of Pakistan's transgender community. So that's just 3 of the myriad stories that I could tell you about the fantastic work done by Commonwealth Scholars and Fellows and the real impact that that work has. If you'd like to know more about those stories, you can find them, a good number of them, on the CSC's website. But here's a really exciting thought, well, it excites me at least, that there'll be a number of you in this room today who will be telling stories about in future years, will be featuring you and your case studies about the impact that you've had because of your studies in the UK. So I'm really looking forward to meeting you today, but also telling those stories in the future as we can demonstrate just the value and the impact that our scholars have. But the other thing I wanted to emphasize is that, of course, we know that you're going to have positive impact when you return to your home countries. But the other thing is that you'll have a positive impact while you're here studying in the UK. And I really want to emphasize that benefit, the benefit that you, our scholars, bring to the UK institutions that you're studying with, and the benefit more broadly to the UK of bringing outstanding individuals such as yourselves to bring and share with us your knowledge and skills. And that's a really key part of the Commonwealth scheme. And we're absolutely clear about and committed to the mutual benefits that we get from the flow of scholars and fellows. We learn as much from you as you do while you're here. And time again, I'm told how crucial Commonwealth scholars are to supporting excellence in UK higher education and in deepening understanding of the Commonwealth. And more than one commissioner has told me that they wish all of their students were as good as the Commonwealth scholars, and how much the programs of study in the UK benefit from having you as part of them. All right, so I've praised you. We're here to recognize your achievements and to celebrate them because you are a fantastic bunch of people. But we're also here to give you the chance to connect and collaborate, to build your personal networks, to meet new people. And so I'm going to give you the challenge that throughout the course of today, your challenge, should you accept it, is to introduce yourself to as many new people as possible. Okay, so don't just hang around with people who you know, as tempting as that is. You won't do that, will you? Introduce yourself to as many new people as you can. I want to make sure that I meet as many of you as possible. Let me introduce you to some key people who you should definitely make sure that you say hello to during the day. The house lights are a little bit low in the hall, but hopefully you can see everybody. I'm going to embarrass people by asking them to stand up. But on the front row, I wonder if I could invite Professors Madeline Arnott, Kevin Ebe, Parmanjit Jat, and Emma Judge if our 4 commissioners could stand up, turn around and give them a wave. Okay, so thank you all for you'll be seeing much more of the commissioners during the day, especially if you make a beeline for them and introduce yourselves to them. So I've given you some hard work during the day, commissioners, but they really enjoy meeting the scholars. Many of you, I hope all of you, now know and love your program officers who've been working with you. So, program officers, can I ask Esther Lumatenga, stand up please, stand up, Irene Costello, Maggie Goncalves, Nathan Haig, Ruth Mensa, there we go, and unfortunately, Emmanuel Patterson, Selja Nyagma, and Bisola Oyedele couldn't be with us today, but they're thinking of you. So you will get a chance to meet those 3 another time, but your program officers will love to meet you, so make sure you go and say hello to them during the day. All right, I lost the room on that one, didn't I? So come back to me. Haven't quite finished. Very good. So there are some key people for you to meet today, as well as everybody else who's in the room. Also make sure that you get the chance to say hello to the fantastic keynote speakers that we have today. I'm going to keep this morning's keynote speaker. I'm going to be introducing her in a moment, so I'll say lots of good things about her then, but you'll be hearing about the importance of leadership, of collaboration, and of networking with our keynote speaker this morning. So make sure you get the chance to introduce yourself to her. So, hopefully, did that message get through? Network, okay? Do lots and lots of networking today. But in addition to that, we'll be giving you, we'll be holding various breakout sessions, looking at strengthening health systems and capacity, looking at science and technology for development, access, inclusion and opportunity, and promoting global prosperity. And these sessions are designed for your personal development. It's all part of your education and training while you're here in the UK. So make the most of them. Make sure that you engage fully in them. We've designed them as discussion sessions, not lectures. So it's really over to you to engage fully with them. And also you'll see throughout the year, in addition to those 4 topics, you'll see that we place a real emphasis in the Commission on climate action. So just next week, in fact, on behalf of the CSC, the British Council will be hosting Interchange 23. That's an online conference running between the 13th and 17th of February, connecting Commonwealth scholars and alumni and learning about each other's work on the theme of clean energy, air and oceans. And that's going to be a fantastic mix of panel discussions, skill development, networking and so on. I should have checked this before embarking on my welcome speech, so I'm just going to look at people who know. Can people still sign up? Yes. Great. The lone voice says yes. Great, so there is still time to sign up. It's happening next week. It's a fantastic program, so I really encourage you to sign up for that. And best of all, you'll get to hear another speech from me. So there you are. Sign up to that next week, and you'll get a real sense of also the work that the CSC does in climate action. And you'll be hearing a bit more about that from this afternoon's keynote speaker too. Okay, I'm in the home stretch now. The last thing for me to say is, once a Commonwealth Scholar, always a Commonwealth Scholar. You are a scholar and a fellow for life. You are part of the family for life. And we really want to make sure that you stay involved with us as an active alumnus. It's very easy to do. It membership of the CSC Alumni Network is completely free. It comes with numerous benefits, regular issues of our newsletter, access to online professional networks and opportunities to attend networking events in your home country. By staying in touch with you, we learn about all the fantastic things that you go on to do after your study, and we can connect you with all sorts of people. So bear that in mind, please. Be active alumni. Be active today, network today. Be active alumni after you've graduated, and engage in the Commonwealth family that you will be members of for life. So, the last thing that I wanted to say is, if you haven't done so already, introduce yourself to your regional network coordinators, because that will allow you to find out what kind of activities are going on in your region this year for scholars at your university and locally. So you should be able to, hopefully you had a chance to bump into them upstairs in Pickwick. There'll be other opportunities to do that over lunchtime. Make sure that you find your regional network coordinator and introduce yourself to them. So, have a great day. Connect and collaborate. Engage with and enjoy the great people who we've brought together today and the program that we've developed for you. Make sure you say hello to me. I want to meet as many of you as I possibly can. Make sure you say hello to the commissioners, to members of the Secretariat. We just love meeting you because we're incredibly proud to have you as scholars, and we want to share and celebrate that with you. But now, I'm absolutely thrilled to introduce as this morning's keynote speaker, Dr. Titilola Banjoko. Dr. Banjoko is a healthcare professional by background and currently serves as an executive managing director in the National Health Service. In 1999, she successfully pioneered the formation of Africa Recruit and findajobinafrica.com, aimed at harnessing human resources and social capital for capacity building in Africa. She's the chair of the board for the Foundation of Women's Health Research and Development, Forward, and the chair of the International Rescue Committee, UK. She's on the advisory board of Global Equality Alliance, the Council of the Royal African Society, and is a trustee of Tropical Health and Education Trust. She's a fellow of the Nigerian Leadership Initiative and co-convened the Better Health for Africa initiative. Titilola has served on many boards, including the European Commission, the United Nations Joint Migration and Development Initiative, the Department for International Development, the Global Poverty Action Fund Advisory Board, and the World Health Organization's Health Worker Global Policy Advisory Council. In 2006, she was named as one of the Pride of a Continent, Africa's Gifts to the World, leaders by the Independent newspaper. And fitting, given that pedigree, it's fitting that she's received numerous awards and endorsements over the last 10 years. In 2019, she was recognized by the Nigerian Healthcare Professionals UK as one of the 70 most outstanding professionals in the United Kingdom. She's absolutely passionate about supporting and giving a voice to the voiceless and to serving humanitarian causes. So it's a real pleasure and a privilege to invite Dr. Banjoko to come and share her thoughts about leadership, collaboration, and capacity building with us all this morning. Titilola, thank you.
Thank you very much, Robin. Can you all hear me? Yes. Well, with my Nigerian voice, I probably don't even need a microphone, do I? So thank you very much, Robin. When you were talking, you actually reminded me of my dad. And the reason why you reminded me of my dad, those of you from probably Africa and parts of Asia, you will know when there's a rich heritage in the family, the first thing you always hear is, remember who you are. So when you were describing the heritage of the Commonwealth, I started saying, that sounds like my dad. Remember who you are. Remember the heritage you've got. It's always in my dad. Oh, God, I can't do anything wrong. I always see my dad's face. If I want to do anything wrong, because it's always, you know how it is, don't disgrace the family name. Don't disgrace the Commonwealth Scholarship alumni. You know, it's all those sorts of things. So, Robin, as you were talking, I just saw my dad. My dad's finger pointing at me and telling me, but actually, my dad's speaking to all of you. You've got a rich heritage in the Commonwealth Scholarship. And actually, you do need to make sure you remember that through good, bad, and challenging times. So I've been asked to talk to you about leadership, collaboration, capacity building, networking in the modern Commonwealth. And I actually think it's an absolute pleasure for me to be invited. I count it a privilege because sharing my experiences is something I love to do because everything looks easy when you see the end product, but nobody talks about the journey to that end product. And my God, it's been a journey, and it still is a journey. I'll start by using an African proverb, which I use regularly for myself. If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. Have you heard that before? Yes. Do you practice it? Yes. That proverb sums everything. It sums collaboration, networking. And what I'm going to do is just weave in my own history and the challenges I've been through, but also the impact and the outcomes I have seen and the lessons I have learned along the way and continue to learn. So I'll start off by saying, first of all, the fact that Robin said this is 1960 in terms of shows that this is a tried and tested platform. So before social media came, Commonwealth Scholarship was there. It's very easy to go with a fad and forget what you've already got. So while you're Twittering, or you're LinkedIn, or you're Facebooking, whatever you're doing, remember you also have another platform. And add that to your toolkit. It's tried, it's tested, and it works. Networking, my goodness me. I'm going to say my first experience of networking. I developed this product called Find a Job in Africa in the late 90s, at the height of, the internet boom. And it was to respond to the brain drain that was happening across the continent. It was me in my little room somewhere in London that I developed it. And I had big visions. You know how when you develop something, you have this big vision, you're going to change the world, you're going to do everything. Youthful exuberance, I would call it. But with a vision and a dream. I then decided that I was going to attend a Commonwealth Business Council meeting in Mauritius to go and network. So I made my way to Mauritius. I got to Mauritius, and I remember it was a hall like this, and I approached the door. I saw people in suits. People looked very, high-profiled. Perception. I couldn't go in. I went back to my room and stayed in my room the whole day. I was intimidated. And then in the evening, I thought, hang on, you came all the way from England here. You're going to stay in your room. You're not going to network. What's the worst that will happen? The worst that will happen is I'll make a fool of myself. The best that will happen is I'll make new contacts. So I went in the following morning. Oh, and I feel sorry for the first person I saw. Because I tell you, it's almost like I didn't want that person to leave me. That was my beginning of networking. And the person had to excuse himself, because I don't even know what I was rumbling about, but I must have been saying all sorts of gibberish. And I just heard him say, oh, do you mind if I excuse me for a few minutes? What he was saying is, just move aside. But I continued to network. And I met a gentleman there who happened to work for the Commonwealth Business Council based in the UK. And I told him about the product and what I was offering, and that I believed that it was going to be of value. And he said, I think that's interesting. It's probably something the Commonwealth Business Council will be interested in, because they're businesses who are looking to invest in the continent, and human resources is the issue that they're facing. Let's have a meeting when we get back to London. Got back to London, series of meetings, and from there, actually, opportunities just opened through the Commonwealth. I was able to present the service and the product, and at that time, context is everything. Tony Blair had just set up this Commission for Africa. I don't know if people can recall that. And there was an emphasis on how we're going to support the development. So this felt like a tool to add to that toolkit. And I learned one lesson then, that context in which you're operating is important, but content that you are providing also is important. I also learned another big lesson. Along the way, there are naysayers. There are people who will tell you it's not going to work, whatever you want to do. There will be people who will tell you, there were people who told me, at this time, people are leaving the continent. You are talking about people going back. There are people who will give you every reason. The first thing is, do I believe in what I am doing? It's not what other people are telling me. It's whether I believe. And trying to find people to come and agree with me, which is what I did at the beginning. I wanted everybody to agree with me. And if they didn't agree with me, I doubted what I was going to do. But I learned through that journey that actually, if you're passionate about something, obstacles never stop you. You make your way through obstacles. You take advantage of opportunities. You network. And networking to me is not talking to your friend. Robin gave you a challenge. It's not talking to your friend who can't help you with what you want to do. It's not talking to your family who would agree or disagree, but still can't help you anyway. It is actually going to like-minded people, engaging with them, even people who encouraged me through my networking are still people that I treasure today. And that is important. So network is important. If you go somewhere and you leave without making a new contact, you haven't networked. Let's just be blunt. All you've done is just socialize with your friends. So my friends, and as you can see, I'm a lady, my friends know it. If they say, they want to follow me somewhere, the first thing I tell them is, when I get there, I'm not standing with you. Don't even count on me standing with you, because I know you, but I need to meet somebody else. So I always set myself goals and objectives. So that's the first thing about networking. So make sure you take Robin's challenge. If you live here today, how many did you give them, Robin? 10? Did you give them 10 or 20? 20. Okay. Oh, somebody said 50. Okay, let's go for 50. But you have to do it with meaning and purpose. There is no point if it's 50 and it's just cards you're collecting. Some people do that. You just collect the cards. You have to do it with meaning and purpose, so that after people, when you leave here, people can say, oh, yeah, that lady, because they remember, or that gentleman. So it has to have meaning and purpose. So that's very, very important. And from there, I was actually able to sit on the World Health, Global Health Advisory Council, which was 19 of us globally, and it was actually chaired by an ex-president. And we came up with a code of conduct for international recruitment across the Commonwealth, and later on across the world, which was adopted by the World Health Assembly. The second thing I want to talk about is collaboration. Left to many of us, people are a burden, aren't they? If we can do without people, we would all be happy. But that includes us. Unfortunate thing is, you can't do anything without people. Whatever it is you want to do, you need somebody. Even the person who sits in a lab by himself or herself and comes up with something still has to take it out and expect somebody to either publish or create a product or service from it. So you still have to engage with people. And that journey of collaboration means you have to be ready to negotiate. You have to be willing to go into partnership. And as a Nigerian, I always say, you have to be willing to engage with people, different ethnicity, tribe, religion, color. You have to be open-minded. Otherwise, there's a lot you will not do. But there's a lot you would do if you are able to pass through those barriers that you have, whatever they are. They exist in every country. But if you're going to make an impact, you have to go past that. As Robin said, I chair an organization, Foundation for Women's Health Research and Development, Forward, which actually addresses violence against women and girls in the continent of Africa and the UK and parts of Europe. To do this, we've had to work in partnership with other organizations. You can't do it by yourself. If you're going to come against culture, tradition, belief, whatever it is, you cannot do it by yourself. So we've had to go in partnership with other organizations. And it's been successful, because when you do that, you create a movement. You create a force for change. And through that, we've been able to get to the point where FGM, as an example, is illegal across the globe. Now we're in the battle of implementation to make sure that in many countries where it's still practiced for whatever reason, but you can't do that if you're not working with local partners. So when Robin was talking about locally, sort of the alumni within your country, within your region, this is important, because whatever you're going to do, you need people within your region, within your country to partner with. And we've been able to do that through working in partnership. It builds local capacity, it builds sustainability, and it creates the impact that you want to see. And to be honest, in some cases you do need external partners when you're fighting against cultural norms and within society, because sometimes it's not that safe to speak. There's always an assumption that it is. It isn't always safe to speak, but you need somebody outside advocating on your behalf. So this is important. Today actually is the International UN Day for Zero Tolerance for female genital mutilation. That is how advocacy has gone to, so it's got to the UN level. That's partnership. You do have to work in partnership with people. The next thing I want is about capacity building. My journey has built capacity in me. That's the first thing. I am resilient. I am more resilient than when I first started my journey. I am more skilled. I am more experienced. I'm not the finished product. I'm definitely not the finished product. But I am more skilled. I am able to take the knockbacks. So those of you who want to make change in your country, you're going to face, because if it was that easy, it would have changed. Change isn't easy. But I've been able to take the knockbacks. I'm able to say, well, that's your opinion, in a nice, polite way, but still focus on what I want to do. I've also seen resilience and capacity built locally. And that includes even here in the UK, because sometimes there's an assumption that the UK has everything. I'm sure you're hearing about the NHS crisis if you're living here at the moment. And I remind myself that, there was crisis in Nigeria before I left. What have they done? And there's a book by Lord Crisp about turning the world upside down. Sometimes there's learning from resource-low countries on what we can do and do differently. It gives me that ability. So that capacity building is sometimes about learning across countries. UK learning from different parts of the Commonwealth. And by the way, I forgot to say, I'm sure you all know Commonwealth is not just the English-speaking countries. You all know that? Yeah? Okay, does anybody want to tell me what the countries that are not English-speaking that are part of the Commonwealth, or is there somebody there from those countries? Yeah? That's Cameroon. Are you from Cameroon? Oh, where are they? Oh, hello. Anybody else? Rwanda, yes, yes, yes. My brother lives in Rwanda. So I must network with you. So that capacity is important, capacity building across countries, within countries, across regions. Then the final thing is about leadership. I have learned in my journey, and the journey I'm still on, that leadership is about leading myself first. If I don't lead myself, I'm not sure I expect others to follow. So it's leading myself first, through the obstacles, through the barriers, through the ups, the downs, and learning to be adaptive and proactive. In 2010, I became the chair of the International Rescue Committee UK, and I thought actually and that's an organization that responds to humanitarian crises across the globe. I thought it was, something similar to what I've done. And then I started realizing responding to humanitarian crisis is not the same. It's not the same at all. And I've learned leadership in crisis. I've learned leadership how to you've got to lead in crisis. I've learned that skill. I've also learned some of the challenges that people face. But also, I was in Poland last year as part of seeing the Ukraine program for Ukrainian refugees in Poland, because Poland is one of the countries surrounding Ukraine. And I learned, actually, do you know who were training the Polish and Ukrainian on how to respond to crisis? Were people from Syria. Because Syria has the experience of responding to crisis. And I then started realizing that this is why making those dots and connecting and learning is an ever-evolving thing, because nobody would have believed that Europe would have refugee crisis, but they did. And it was only through that they were, through that learning. So I just want to finish by saying that the most important thing is the journey that you're going to go through. Robin has given you so much history. Don't take it for granted. Don't assume that everybody has that platform that you have. You have been given the opportunity, and it reminds me of a video I normally watch where there are people at the starting line. And some people, I don't know if you've seen that video, where some people they ask some people to go to the front and start earlier than the other people in the race, i.e. those who have the opportunities and the benefits, and then others try and catch up. You have the opportunity and the benefit of the Commonwealth Scholarship. Do not take it for granted, because if you do, somebody will come behind you and leap across you. And if you dare tell them that you were a member of the Commonwealth Scholarship, they'll look at you, well, I would, and think, and what have you done with it? So don't take it for granted. Make sure you optimize your opportunity. And as Robin said, looking forward to seeing the change you are definitely going to make in your country of origin. Thank you.
So thank you so much. I'm sort of thinking of myself as your father now. That's sort of but I got so much out of that. Actually, I learned a lot, and I listened very, very carefully. And we had the opportunity to explore a little bit now with Titilola some of the things that she covered in that, or any other questions that you'd like to put to her. We've got microphones around the room. There you go. You can see we've got a couple of paddles. Don't ask your question before we manage to get a microphone to you, because we won't hear it. So, and what I'll do is I'll take 2 or 3 questions together and then ask Titulolu to respond. So who would like to ask the first question? I can see in the back row there. No, sorry, number 2. There we go. Lady with the orange top. And if you put your hands up, have you spotted? Yeah, if you could go there, we'll line up a few. There we go.
Thank you very much. My name is Olamide Esho. I'm actually a PhD student, Commonwealth Scholar 2019. I'm here as a panelist, but I got interested in your profile, and that's why I kind of feel like I should use the opportunity to ask you. Now, one of the major questions that has always been on my mind is, as a woman, I noticed that you've led a lot of panels, you've been in a lot of leadership positions. What are your challenges, first of all, as an African woman, and as someone that is ambitious to make a change in Africa? Because I know that that is a huge, huge challenge as an African woman, considering our culture, and you've done a lot, and I'm quite impressed by you, and I would like to meet you after. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, thank you very much. We'll take just 2 or 3, and then I'll put them together. So next question here near the front.
Hi, Nicholas Alpha is my name, Reading Food Science. My question is about collaboration and connection. You actually gave us a task to get 50 names, or to connect with 50 people from here. That's awesome. But can you give us practical tips to keep these people, to keep connecting, to make the best of them? Because it's not just enough to get the names.
Great question. Very good. And we'll just take one more down here near the front.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's okay, we can hear you.
Mine is a question. I really want to thank you for this wonderful presentation. My name is Israel Balogun. I'm a PhD student and also a person with disability and an advocate for that matter. My question is this: how were you able to network across the different contexts? You know, I've worked as an international expert, and sometimes the contextual situation is very, very challenging. How were you able to navigate and be able to be the change agent that you are? Thank you so much.
Fantastic. 3 great questions. Let's take the first one first, and then I'll combine the second 2. So, the challenges that you've encountered and overcome, particularly as an African woman in the areas that you've worked in.
Yes, thank you, Olamide, for that question. I'll put it in 2 parts, my response. First, I've had to overcome it myself. Because there's a mindset, there's a mindset that women to be seen, but you don't speak. There are barriers that I have in my own mind, myself. And therefore, you feel like I feel like an imposter. But I've taken looking at myself, and I focus on the people that I need to make an impact for. And when I do that, I become irrelevant in that space. Yep. So that's the first thing. You have to be very confident in yourself and understand why you're doing what you're doing, and acknowledge the context. So I was in northern Nigeria last year. So, and for those who don't know, northern Nigeria is a part where there's a lot of conflict, and it's predominantly a Muslim part of the country. The context is, I have to cover my hair. No trousers like I'm wearing here. That's my choice, because I understand that if it's cultural, there are certain things I have to do. And that's really just being open-minded, like I said earlier on. Because if you go with a perception that you're going to wag your finger at anybody, you're not going to get anywhere. So and then when I got there, the key thing is I acknowledged that there might be some things I would see that I wouldn't quite like. But if I'm focusing on the women and girls that need health care, there are some things I'm going to have to walk through. And that's the thing you have to do. You're not going to change everything overnight. Then the final thing, the third thing is, you have to have male advocates. You can't effect the change as a woman without male advocates. There are a lot of male advocates out there. If you don't have male advocates, it's like the women just shouting in our echo chamber. So I enlist male advocates, and I do have quite a few male advocates who will speak, who I will take to meetings, and they will start the process. It's a journey. As women become empowered, you find it's easier. Okay? We'll speak after.
Very good. Very good. So the second and third question, let me put them together. As people in the room work towards their target of 50 during the day, they'll have to do that in lots of different ways because they'll meet people from different places and so on. So any really practical tips and tricks you've got? And then once people have met those 50 people, how do they keep those networks going in future?
So my tips of what I do is, if I meet somebody, I actually write on the card or when I email, what is it about them and where I met them? Because in 6 months' time, I'll forget where I met them. So I tend to write it or email myself, all these things we do electronically. So that next time I say, oh, I met you at the Commonwealth Scholarship, you remember, and I might have, might be something that you said or that person said that just, and I have made contact with people that I met. There was a gentleman I made contact with last year that I met about 8 years ago, but I had written on his business card. So all I did was tell him where I met him. So of course he knows he was there, because I've just reminded him he was there, even if he had forgotten. And what we discussed, just one point. And immediately the connection was reestablished. Because every connection you make doesn't always count at that point in time. Don't always see that it's, why do I need this? You might not need it now, but you might need it in 6 months, you might need it in 1 year. Hope that helps.
Yeah. Very good, thank you.
Sorry, the gentleman about, your question was across
different contexts.
Different contexts.
Yeah.
So, that's why partnership is important. Partnerships locally. So, as IRC, if I'm going to engage with Afghanistan, I work with the Afghan community because they understand the cultural context in which I am going, and they're able to offer advice. So it's important that you know the context in which you are going. Don't go blindly into any operating environment. And therefore, you need local partners. They'll be able to tell you what you do, what you don't do, or how best to, and things you don't say, or what is even happening in the country at that point in time. So local partnerships are important.
Now, I'm not going to look at people who are organising this because I know I'm in desperate time trouble, but I'm enjoying this too much. So I'm going to allow 2 more questions, and then we'll really have to stop for the breakout session. So we've got 1 question there, and I'll allow you 2, and then we'll have to call it a day. Sorry. So your question, please.
Okay. My name is Rades Biliaminu. Okay. MSc, Cranfield University. So my question is, I know when it comes to social change, in comparison with science and technology, the pace is kind of different. It's quite fast for social compared to science and technology. I think I'll use the example of the climate change since it's the most popular one. In comparison to social changes. But then my main question is, how do you interface with government when you want change? Because a whole lot of things cycle around the authority within the states. So how do you tend to interface? Because I'm asking the question because for me, I think science and technology is largely being sponsored by private sectors along with government, and then those are the two major stakeholders you need to interface with to go across change within science and technology.
Great, thank you. If you could give the mic back as well, that would be great. And then these two questions here, keep them really brief if you can.
As brief as possible. My name is Mukungekwa Maswabi. I am a law student at Cambridge. My question is very succinct. You speak about cooperation with cross-continental cooperation. I'm assuming this is public and private. Where do you draw the line between compromise and resistance when it comes to external influence, particularly maybe private agendas or external agendas towards yours? That is where aid is offered or assistance is offered, but it comes with baggage. Okay. We'll call it that.
So, very interesting question. And I'll give you a few moments to think about how to respond to that. So we'll take the last question, brief as you can.
My name is Omomayo Abati. I'm a PhD student at the University of Leeds. Thank you for your guest lecture. My question is very straightforward. I'm trying to bring in the context of you being a woman. I know you've explained some aspect of it. I want to understand how you manage power relations upward and downward. How do you manage power relations?
Very good. Again, we could keep going. These questions are terrific. They really are. Let me combine the first two, if I may. So, how do you deal with government politics and the amount of compromise that's almost, in my experience anyway, inevitable when you're trying to influence policy?
I think the first thing is you have to develop advocates, even within government. They're not ultimately the enemy you think they are, because they're still people. So you have to find people that become advocates, and they become the champion of your cause. Everybody's looking for legacy. Even government officials. They want their name to something. So I sell them the sizzle, not the bacon or the meat. So you've got to learn business skills. I'm afraid, sometimes people who are social change agents don't want to adapt the business skills that are required. You've got to adapt those business skills. So there are some places I don't do the talking, actually. I support and enable my advocate to do the talking.
Very good. And briefly, power dynamics up and down. How do you navigate those dynamics?
So, like I said, the up is the advocate.
Yeah.
The down is the advocate. Everybody is looking for a cause to champion, to fight, or somebody's looking for a product to sell. The most important thing, my personal experience is, never lose sight of your vision. When you lose sight of your vision, you get embroiled in the politics and you get diverted. So I always have this saying that I use, and I live on sayings. And this actually I got from Jesse Jackson years ago when I met him. And I asked him, how come you've managed all these years to stay the course of your fight against injustice, seeing that you stood right next to Martin Luther King when he was shot? And I always remember what he said to me. He said, you can stay on the ground and fight as a chicken, or you can soar like an eagle and look down at the chicken. Choose your battles wisely.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Just brilliant keynote speaker. I think you're going to find it very difficult to leave the room because everybody will want to be networking with you. But let's just once again say thank you to Tidoli for a fantastic talk. Well, We're going to have to move quite quickly now, I'm afraid, because we've overrun ever so slightly, but I think it was well worth it given how great that talk was. We'll be moving into our development discussion panels with a range of experts that we're lucky to have with us today. Remember what I said, they're discussion groups, not lectures, so they will be successful depending on how you engage with them. The panel that you've been allocated to should be represented by the icon on your badge. It'll be in your packs if you've forgotten that. If you get really lost, there'll be members of the Secretariat and commissioners to help you. You've got about -2 minutes to get to your room, so I'm going to release you all and then meet you over lunch. So see you at lunch.